Just back-breaking labor as folks try to save these restaurants, stores.
Across the Merrimack River Valley, the fight is on against an historic flood, a flood no one was expecting so soon.
14 months we were here doing the same thing, and I don't think we thought we would do that again.
Residents are frustrated.
We're having another 500-year flood right now.
And with more rain coming, more major roads are closing.
This is a huge event, probably the biggest we've ever had.
And it's about to get bigger. Live team coverage starts now. Thank you for joining us at 6. News 4's coverage of Spring Flood 2017 continues. Flood waters are consuming yards, cars, roads, and major highways by the minute. We have team coverage tonight from across the Merrimack Valley. 8 reporters watching out for you, gathering the latest and giving you the first alert to what's ahead. Our coverage being led off tonight by my colleagues Courtney Bryant and Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, live in Eureka.
Steve, for a community that's dealing with a situation like this really for the second time in less than a year and a half, this one is dealing with it pretty well. I mean, Steve, you and I were out here a few hours ago and saw hundreds of people out down here filling sandbags trying to save homes and businesses.
It's kind of a double-edged sword. It's sad seeing this again, second time in 16 months, but it's also good to see the camaraderie come together. What we need is all those volunteers who put the sandbags together. We need those sandbags to hold, because tonight we're going to set a new record, we expect, on the Merrimack River here in Eureka.
All right, well, we have Russell Kinsall, who was here earlier when he saw all of those volunteers who were out before fire department officials told them they didn't need any more volunteers. Russell?
Yeah, the sandbagging efforts are winding down. Now the focus is on these sandbag walls. And as Steve said, everyone is hoping that they will hold. For now, they are holding. There have been 3 leaks into businesses, but those leaks have been plugged. I got to tell you, spirits out here are really high, but 2 record-setting floods in less than 2 years can take a toll. Businesses in Old Town Eureka are hoping sandbag walls as much as 5 feet tall will protect their livelihoods from the devastating effects of a flooded river. But it's a difficult wait to see.
It's hard.
Tina Butler is owner of Butler Electric Contracting. In December of 2015, the business had 4 feet of water inside. For some of the businesses along South Central, that previous flood shut them down for 3 months.
It was terrible. We have pumps and we have our floors raised, and we still got hit really bad.
Since then, they've learned to make better flood walls. But 2 floods in less than a year and a half is very stressful. However, a number of volunteers who have turned out to help fill sandbags and protect the businesses has been a real boost to their spirits.
It's part of your life, but I feel so blessed that it's not my home, because there's so many people that are losing their homes.
The next 24 to 48 hours will be agonizingly slow as business owners pump out any water that seeps through their sandbag flood walls, but they're only hoping that these taller, stronger sandbag walls, better than the ones they built 16 months ago, will do their job. Only time will tell. Live in Eureka, Russell Kinsall. Now let's go back to Steve and Claire.
All right, thank you, Russell. It's easy to tell from the sentiments of people who are trying to work hard to save their homes and businesses just how serious of a situation this could be here in Eureka, but it can be hard to get a sense of how widespread the perspective is from the ground.
That's true. I mean, you see the Merrimack River there. The actual river in a normal day is about 1.5 miles that way. So you don't quite have that perspective unless you get up in the air. News 4's Mark Griffin is up in the air in Sky Zoom 4 with that perspective of the sprawling flood waters.
Steve, I tell you what, this has become ground zero of the battle between the people of Eureka and the Merrimack River. We're going to bring you in here and show you what's been going on. We have business owners, residents, public safety workers, and now the National Guard here as well, filling sandbags in an effort to save these businesses in downtown Eureka. More than 200,000 sandbags have been filled by volunteers in an effort to keep the water at bay. And as I bring you in here, you'll be able to see this wall of sandbags that is keeping the water out of these businesses. As of right now, they do appear to be holding. As you mentioned, the water continues to rise. It's time now that the work is just about wrapping up, and we're just going to have to sit and wait and see if these bags hold.
Yeah, Mark, and that crest is going to happen overnight tomorrow morning here in Eureka. And this time around, it's a little different because last time in 2015, a lot of people were on holiday break, including kids. But a lot of kids were supposed to be in school today.
Yeah, school is a major thing you have to think about when you have water coming in where streets should be, where homes should be, where businesses can be. Not a safe situation for kids to be going to school. That's why earlier today, Superintendent of Rockwood School Districts, Eric Canos, actually surveyed the damage by boat. Our Alexis Zotos has that angle of the story. Alexis?
Steve, Courtney, because so many people here in Eureka are out protecting their livelihoods or simply blocked by their flooded streets, they have called off all of Rockwood School District for tomorrow. Of course, Eureka High School is not going to be back in school for some time now because it is completely surrounded by water. This is video from the superintendent's tour by the Coast Guard around the high school. There is water surrounding the school, covering the soccer and softball fields. Right now, though, the sandbag wall that they built over the weekend is holding. There is only water in the wrestling gym, and their main priority is keeping it out of the main gym that was just redone.
This is unbelievable. I mean, it's already clearly going to be record all-time flood. So there's just a lot of forces. It's just disheartening. It's disheartening to see a place that is usually this time of day thriving with kids, and the water's trying to take it.
So because a lot of those kids were out of school today, a lot of them have been here helping out. There is still a major crew of people that are filling sandbags, and a lot of those are students that are out of school, are going to be out of school tomorrow. Right now, they say it is too soon to tell when school could be back on for Eureka High School. They're just taking it day by day. Live in Eureka, Alexis Zotos, News 4.
All right, thanks, Alexis. Again, this is really just one of the areas that's being affected. Yeah. The Merrimack River goes across a large part of the area, and there are a lot of communities along its route.
Yeah, and I'll have an update on the numbers coming up in a little bit, too. But we also realize the Merrimack's impacting a lot of people who don't live near the river. I-44 shut down overnight. I-55 will shut down. I'll let you know when the waters would actually recede from some of those roads and when they could possibly be reopened. I'll have the details on that coming up.
We have a lot more coverage coming up for you. For now, we'll send it back to Steve.
Okay, Courtney and Steve, thank you. Meanwhile, major roads, as they referenced, continue to be threatened by the floods. Take a look. These are Sky Zoom 4 images of Interstate 44 and 141 in Valley Park in January of 2016, and video we shot of that site just today. Eerily similar. So many people thought they wouldn't be seeing that scene again so quickly. And in a matter of hours, Interstate 55 will be closing because of rising waters along the Merrimack. We have multiple crews focusing on the interstate closures. We start with Matt Cesny detailing what you need to know about the closure on 55.
Yeah, Steve, the important thing to keep in mind right now is that there are still about 6 hours left to keep traffic moving here on I-55. But once this highway does close, drivers also need to keep in mind that the rising Merrimack River will also wash out two other major alternate routes between St. Louis County and Arnold.
So you all are going to have to decide what side of the river you want to be on when you go to bed tonight, because you're not going to be able to get back and forth.
MoDOT's assessment seems right on target. As the Merrimack River rises over I-55 tonight in Arnold, the highway will close in both directions. MoDOT thinks that will happen after midnight, and the highway will stay closed here through the morning rush hour, essentially throwing up a watery barrier between Jefferson and St. Louis counties.
With MoDOT's prediction of the highway closing in Telegraph and Jeffco, that's going to be a major problem. We'd really like people to stay home for the next couple of days, work from home. I think school's already been canceled in the area. The less cars we have out there is going to be better for us.
You're going to be cut off from St. Louis essentially here, right?
Pretty much, yes. We'll be cut off completely if this happens.
Again, MoDOT expects to close down Interstate 55 north and southbound here sometime after midnight tonight. Also keep in mind Jeffco Boulevard and Telegraph will also close down. The timing all depends on how fast the water rises. We've watched it go up almost 2 feet in the last couple of hours here. Ray Preston continues our team coverage on the interstates with a look at how closing Interstate 44 affected traffic today in St. Louis. He is live in Valley Park. Ray?
Thanks, Matt. Take a look Closer look at that water you see flowing behind me. You know what that is? That is water coming off of Interstate 44, flowing down what would be the exit ramp of the eastbound lanes of 44 and 141 here. Now, Manchester Road was apparently able to absorb a lot of the traffic from 44 without any major problems during the morning rush hour. We'll see how it does, though, for the evening rush. Traffic engineers have been busy working on coordinating traffic lights on Manchester. They reduce the duration of a left turn signal to prevent traffic from backing up.
Manchester Road is the detour route. We have been working on timing the signals to make that flow. It flows pretty good.
Around the St. Louis region, MoDOT says more than 80 state-owned roads are now closed due to flooding, and the list is growing.
67 in St. Charles County and West Alton has been put to two-way traffic. You know, we got one lane going each way, and that's functioning fairly well considering everything we're dealing with.
How long is this going to last? As you heard, you know, it'll be several days. We're hoping for the best, but even when it's done, even when the water goes off the road, we have to look at all the bridges and look at the pavement and make sure there's nothing wrong.
Police say drivers need to be patient and understand the closures will be with us for at least a few days.
So we have a lot of closures, and we're going to need the people to understand this is a huge event, probably the biggest we've ever had.
Now, first responders say they have put the warning out again and again, but it is worth repeating. They say do not drive through these floodwaters. You know, one county official said today that people, however, continue to ignore common sense. Sometimes they'll even go around these barriers and go through the standing water. He says it not only puts their own life at jeopardy, but they also put the others, the first responders and the rescuers, at risk as well. Reporting live from Valley Park, Ray Preston, News 4.
Those images behind Ray, incredible. The floodwaters obviously already high, and the bad news is more rain is headed our way. Right now, we head back to Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton live in Eureka for details.
And what's important to know is the forecast on the river takes into account all of the rain, and we're going to get a lot of it, but all of the rain that's coming Wednesday and Thursday. So let me get to the updated numbers, and we'll start upstream from where I'm at in Eureka in Pacific, Missouri. Pacific is where the Merrimack will crest first. That's going to happen about midnight tonight. It'll be very near the record, just a couple tenths of a foot. We're talking inches from the record. So another historic crest possible tonight right along Pacific. Then right here in Eureka, the rivers are going to set a new record tomorrow morning, a few inches above the 2015 level. Now, the sandbags we've been showing you holding the water at bay from businesses, that water should recede in that area Wednesday night, Thursday morning. And then north of town, Highway 109 near Eureka High School, water recedes Thursday afternoon if everything is on track and the forecast is right. Then let's go to Valley Park. River forecast is going to tie the 2015 record. That water will recede from Interstate 44 by Thursday night, by about Friday 1 a.m. That doesn't mean Interstate 44 will be open Friday 1 a.m. MoDOT's going to have to clear it and check it. And then let's go to Arnold, where the higher forecast today, unfortunately, meant that they had to shut down Interstate 55 overnight tonight. Still open now, but it'll shut down overnight tonight as it reaches about 5 inches close to that level, just 5 inches below the level where water gets onto Interstate 55. Let's hope it doesn't get on the interstate, but at the earliest, 55 would be open on Thursday morning. A lot to go through there, but again, it's not just the folks who live near the Merrimack. It's a lot of people who take 55 and Tesson Ferry and 44 and 141 that are impacted by this, and we're going to stay on top of it. Should any numbers change, we'll have it for you.
All we can do is watch and wait, and people here are doing everything they can to respond. But right now, we'll send it back to you, Steve.
All right, our Spring Flood 2017 coverage continues. The situation along the Merrimack looking very familiar to what we saw back in 2015. Next at 6, News 4 investigates, asking Missouri's U.S. senators what actions they've taken since that last flood. And as we head to break, Sky Zoom 4 over Eureka, Mark Griffin has been documenting the efforts there to keep the waters at bay. More than 200,000 sandbags filled at this point. The special edition of News 4 at 6 will continue right after this. Welcome back to the special hour-long edition of News 4 at 6. Tonight, we're asking lawmakers what they're doing to prevent future flooding and if they made any attempts to stop this current disaster after devastating floods in 2015. Investigative reporter Chris Nagus is not a guy who's afraid to ask tough questions. And Chris, you made those phone calls this afternoon.
Well, Steve, we have to. Our viewers want answers to these questions. That's why we're asking them. Now, I need to caution, we're getting all of this information in the past hour from Senator McCaskill and Senator Blunt. They're both in Washington today, but both tell me they are watching the flooding closely. On Twitter, Roy Blunt told his followers he's monitoring the floods. One person responded saying it would mean more to us if you actually come here in person. So I asked him about his plans.
Don't have a plan this week, but I would expect to be there over the next few days.
Blunt says he's very concerned about the interstate closures. He says he asked MoDOT about ways to avoid a repeat after the last flood.
I asked for that to happen 2 years ago, and I don't think we've seen the response to that December 2015 flood in terms of any reporting back as to what our short and long-term plans should be. With this happening a couple of times now in 18 or so months, I think it's time to insist on what is the plan going forward.
Senator McCaskill also tweeted about the floods, offering prayers and offering any available federal resources. I asked if there's anything that can be done to stop scenes like this. The answer might be yes, but it wouldn't be without consequences.
There could be massive building of levees, but with levees, there's always, whenever you do projects upriver, it makes it worse for downriver. This is hard because, they could try to do more to fix their flooding problem up in North Dakota, and then we would be the recipients of the flooding. So you've got to look at this as a whole system.
McCaskill now worries that the proposed federal budget cuts money for updating flood maps. She says they are essential to figure out where the next disaster might strike, but she cautions there is no easy solution to the threat in Missouri.
So there's no easy answer here. There's no piece of legislation that fixes this.
And I also asked about buyouts. McCaskill says some buyouts are voluntary, and residents that are sick and tired of dealing with this year after year can contact FEMA for more information. Blunt and McCaskill said they are in contact with the governor, and if the governor asks for federal assistance, which hasn't happened yet, they will be ready to act. Steve?
All right, Chris, is this a problem that should have been fixed years ago? Tonight at 10, News 4 Investigates looks into what didn't happen decades ago that has people along the Merrimack paying the price today. That's coming up tonight on News 4 at 10. Right now, we head back out to Courtney Bryant in Eureka, who is speaking with a business owner doing everything she can to protect her building.
Yeah, Steve, I'm here with Karen Boak, owner of Red Door Liquor and Cigars. Karen, it's right above that water line. You see the brick building back down there. Karen, what has it been like all day today trying to save your store?
Extremely emotional, but very grateful because we've had so many wonderful people out here helping. Eureka High School, just the community has really gotten together and help us out with sandbagging, bringing food, helping just move things around. It's been amazing.
You've been through this before less than 18 months ago. I mean, what is it like to see the water come right up to the front door of your business and not know what's going to happen?
Well, it's kind of scary. It's, you think the best is going to happen and it's never going to hit you, but you just take every precaution that you can and just hope for the best, and that's what we did. I mean, we moved everything off the ground and we sandbagged everywhere we could, and Mother Nature is going to take its course.
Well, we are watching, waiting, and hoping for the best alongside you. Another situation, another group of people that are dealing with this situation for the second time in a year and a half is the Rockwood School District over at Eureka High School. They were flooded in December 2015. SkyZoom 4 is giving you an overall view of the area, and one of those areas that got flooded was the gym. That gym was just remodeled last year. A lot of people down here on the ground in Eureka are talking about how frustrating it is to have a gym completely renovated, project just get finished, and then have it flood again not too long afterwards. Earlier, the superintendent of Rockwood School Districts was down here surveying the damage with the U.S. Coast Guard. There is no timetable right now on when school will be back in session. They are taking it day by day, even minute by minute right now. Steve Templeton back out here.
Yeah, with more rain on the way too. So more rain's on the way, but you have to know that is all factored into those river forecasts. But there's a lot of rain coming our way. There's going to be 2 inches, pretty widespread, and there's going to be some spots that see 3 to 4 inches of rainfall. So take a look at our forecast graphics. We expect to see a good amount of rain from Wednesday to Thursday. That's the timing. It's going to be a wet one. There's the Forecast 2 to 3 inches, pretty widespread, but there's going to be some spots 3 to 4 inches, and that's why a flash flood watch has been issued. It goes into effect tonight, all the way through Thursday at 7 p.m. So we'll watch for flash flooding. We know the small creeks and rivers will be on the rise, and general flooding is going to happen yet again. Now, as we look at the system that's going to be coming our way, it is a slow-moving, low-pressure system yet again. Not here yet. We have dry time this evening, and temperatures have been mild today. We hit 71 for the high, and temperatures are still somewhat mild for this time of the year. We're at 68 degrees in St. Louis right now, 67 in Afton. But tomorrow's going to be cooler because of the clouds and the rain. So let's time it out for you. Hour by hour in the Super Predictor, we'll take you through. And we'll start this evening, as I mentioned, a dry one. But as I tick that clock on towards tomorrow morning, have the umbrella ready. 8 a.m. here, scattered showers moving in. If it's not raining when you head out the door, it will be, so grab the umbrella. 48 degrees there. We're going from Wednesday morning into the afternoon. Could see some breaks, especially southeast of St. Louis, but generally be prepared for rain at any time of the day. 5 o'clock, still some showers, 53 degrees. Again, a cooler day. Then we're ticking the clock on into Thursday morning. Some rain, heavy at times, not a lot of lightning out of this, and there's no severe threat, but rain does continue into 8 a.m. Thursday there. Let's go from that wet Thursday morning commute on into the afternoon. Notice how slow this system is. It lingers all the way to about Thursday evening. Some forecasts even Thursday night linger the rain and finally dry it out after midnight. But sometime Thursday evening or Thursday night, the rain ends and we'll get into some mainly dry time. Although I do have a shower on the weekend, it's going to be very light and not exacerbating flooding. The main impact of all that rain Wednesday and Thursday is to slow down the drop in the rivers. No secondary crests here around the Merrimack. Again, no secondary crests. However, because it stalls the drop in the river over the weekend, Highway 141 at Valley Park probably won't be clear of water until Monday. That's because of all this additional water slowing down the drop in the river as we head into the weekend. So more rain on the way, and of course the water's still rising here in Eureka, expected to set a record tonight.
Yeah, a few people still here on the ground monitoring those sandbag walls, making sure no water gets into those businesses. We're going to stay here. We'll be right back.
Game 3 was not just another slow start for the Blues against the Nashville Predators. The Blues were also out-muscled in that contest. Nashville bringing a strong physical presence to the start of that game. Tonight, the Blues say they're ready to raise their intensity, and they'll lean on their goaltender, Jake Allen, to even the series at 2 apiece.
You know, we've had some ups and downs, a lot of adversity this year. You know, when times are real tough, you know, we struggled a bit, but we found our way out of a hole. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-0 or an 8-7 game. We just got to find a way to win and head back to St. Louis on, on a positive note, and look forward to playing in our own barn.
Baseball, where the Cards continue to have the same old issues on the base pass. Redbirds have lost almost 20 base runners to unforced outs this season, and last night Colton Wong getting caught in no man's land in the 6th. That mistake killing Redbird rally. Sung Won-Oh gave up a fat one to Travis Shaw in the 10th. 7-5 the final last night. Cards and Brewers underway in about 45 minutes from now. And finally, IndyCar racing is making its return to the St. Louis area as the Gateway Motorsports Park will host the first ever Bommarito Automotive Group 500 on August 26th. And this afternoon, the drivers got in some testing and also mingled with the fans in the area as St. Louis preparing for a huge racing event for the St. Louis region.
We're going to have thousands of Indy fans here in St. Louis showcasing our city and millions more watching on TV. It's going to be fabulous.
You don't really get an appreciation for it until you come see it in person. So would encourage everyone to come out here and check it out. It's an amazing Saturday night event, and hopefully this can be a new home for major sports in St. Louis.
That was Alexander Rossi, won last year's Indy 500 at 25 years old. It is going to be a spectacular event. Helio Castroneves and a few guys on hand.
All right, those blue skies in the video look good. We need more of that. Unfortunately, we won't see more of that tomorrow, but we'll take
Doesn't look like it, does it?
Take what we can get right now. Our special hour-long edition of News 4 at 6 continues.